So it's been about a year since I made the video about my psychosis, and there's been a lot of views on it, a lot more than I thought there would be. So thank you for watching, and I'm gonna pretty much just talk about like how it's been since then, and kind of answer some questions that you guys left in the comments. Just to start out, everything's been going really well. I have a job, I've graduated, living at home, and yeah, so I'm just going to jump into the questions, just to go ahead and answer. So one person asked, how did you heal? Well, they asked someone else this, but it was on a comment that was left on there, but I just wanted to talk about that. So when I was going through my psychosis, I had a psychologist as well as a psychiatrist who worked with me. My psychiatrist obviously prescribed me medicine, and before I go any further, I'm not a professional. This is just from experience. I have taken psychology courses and I'm a minor in psychology, but then again, I'm not a professional. So how did I heal? So as I said, I had a psychiatrist and a psychologist, and my psychiatrist prescribed me medicine. I'm not going to say which medicine it was, you know, a lot of the medicine was trial and error, and it's going to be different for every person. Thankfully enough, I kind of knew for some reason when I was on a certain medicine, that it wasn't the right medicine for me, because every time I took it, it felt like I needed to throw up, or made me like more anxious than normal. So I ended up moving on to a different medication, which helped more. And then my psychologist, I saw her, I believe, I really don't know how many times a week, but at least every week. And she just helped me kind of like discuss what was going on, what I was feeling. She helped me like organize my thoughts. She taught me a lot of tricks on how to kind of like release my anxiety. A lot of just like breathing, and sometimes just like trying to slow down my heart rate. One thing that she taught me to do was to kind of take your hands and just like tap your fingers on your body. It kind of gives you like self-awareness, just to like your surroundings and to kind of stay in the moment. So that was one thing that she taught me, which helped a lot. I actually used that a lot. And I also just, how I helped, I guess, myself heal was I listened to my psychologist and like took everything she said and like practiced it. Anything that she told me about how to calm myself down, writing in the journal, she had me do that a lot, which helped. I was able to just kind of like pour out my thoughts, even though maybe they didn't make sense. It was just like being able to write it down, I guess, helped. One thing that kind of helped me get through it, another thing was just like family support, my friends supporting me. That helped a lot too, just knowing that like I had people around me that wanted me to get better, and you know, were just there to be there for me, which was very nice to have. So if you have a family member or a friend that's going through this, being there for them is really all you can do. Just to, you know, show up and be there and hang out with them, whatever they need. If they don't want you to be there, then just don't. Just like respect what they want, I guess, because that helps as well. Just like giving them their space when needed, because sometimes it can be very confusing and kind of hard to understand that as a friend or family member, but sometimes you just have to back off. I mean, depending on the situation, obviously, but yeah, I would say that's pretty much like how I healed, and just being like patient with myself. So yeah, I'd say that's that. Someone asked how my recovery was. The recovery was long and hard, but I ended up turning out in the end, and which was good. Yeah, I mean, the recovery process was definitely difficult. It was baby steps. I wanted to I remember just wanting to go back to school right away. I wanted to drive a car right away. I wanted to be able to do things on my own right away, and that wasn't really possible at that time, and it took me a while to understand that. And I really pushed the limit on that, which I probably shouldn't have done, but yeah, that part I think would be the hardest because I was mad at myself because I was I just want to move forward and just keep going with my life, but I couldn't. I needed to take my time and just recuperate myself and go through that recovery process instead of wanting to just jump forward. And yeah, but it was a long process. I would say I was told that I wasn't really myself again until actually this past year. And the psychosis happened 2 years ago? 3 years ago. Happened 3 years ago. And I was told that I haven't been myself, I finally became my real self again this past year. Obviously I was I did recover before that, but I think I finally am at that I was at the final recovery, finally back to my real old self this past year, which is interesting. But I mean, I didn't notice that, but people around me did. So, but I mean, it's good to hear that, I'm back where I'm supposed to be, back on my feet. So yeah, I would say the recovery process was long and hard, but it was worth it to go through it because I'm finally back where I was before. So a lot of the questions about about recovery, but someone asked if the paranoia stays. I would say that it slowly goes away. I definitely had the paranoia for a while, but it slowly went away, and I made changes in my life personally to help that paranoia go away. Yeah, it does. It goes away. That very intense paranoia where you I mean, everyone experiences it differently. So either you hear voices, you think people are out to get you, or you see things, hear things. That does go away. At least it did in my case. And I'm not a professional, but I think it would go away in your case eventually. You just have to really work through it. I guess for me it was almost that 2-year process of getting that paranoia completely almost diminished. One person asked if I'm still on medications. I am still on medication. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but I am. Someone asked, trying to learn what it is, why it happens, etc. I understand it's about a detachment from reality. However, I'm curious to learn why paranoia is such a common symptom. I think that paranoia is such a common symptom probably because I don't know, this isn't my own opinion, but maybe because you're completely detached from reality, and that in its sense is scary. So the same person asked, you said you almost willed yourself out of that state. I'd love to hear about more of that in depth. What does that mean and feel physically and emotionally? Can others do this too? Okay, the video cut out, but I was talking about how someone asked how I willed myself out of the state. I think it's because I was aware of what was going on just because I was taking that psychology course and learning about it, and I've learned about it before. So the fact that I knew what was going on, I mean, I remember looking up the definition of psychosis and being that's what's going on with me, that is it. And I think from that, just being aware of that helped me kind of understand what not what I needed to do, but that this was serious and that I needed to take the the therapy and everything seriously, and really practice what my psychologist was telling me. And so yeah, just working through it that way helped me a lot. And that's kind of how I willed myself, I guess, out of it, was by just pushing myself to be aware and understand that, like, Emily, you're losing your mind, and like that's why these things are happening, and you're going through something mentally and you can't control it. I think that's kind of maybe how I realized that. And emotionally, you know, I started to feel better knowing that I knew what was going on. I think that kind of maybe helped me as well, just like it helps me just understand what was happening, which was I'm really grateful for knowing about it and having taken a course on it. Obviously I didn't know that was going to happen to me, but it helped, which was nice. So yeah, I guess, I mean, it's going to be different in every person's situation. You know, someone might be going through this and not even realize what it is and not understand it's a mental, like, health issue, and that's what's really going on, is something with your brain. So it can really just depend on your situation. But I mean, just if you get the right help, you should be able to eventually get out of that and come out the other end, which I did, and very grateful for that happening. Someone asked how long it took me to be happy and myself again. I would say overall 2 years, just to like work through everything, to get out of the like psychosis. I would say I was in it for 3 months, and it probably took, I don't know, 4 or 5 months maybe to like fully, not like fully, but like get out of the psychosis. But I don't think I was my actual self until 2 years. Yeah. Did you feel like you didn't have privacy? 100%. Because for me, I hallucinated sounds. So yeah, no, I never really thought that I had privacy. I would hear people, I would hear like my friends or like my family. So yeah, no, I didn't really personally feel like I had a lot of privacy. You know, it was a lot of, it wasn't like the sense of like I always had to have someone around me. It's like the fact that like I was hallucinating sounds, and that's what made me feel like I didn't have privacy. And obviously, I mean, going to a psychologist like every week, and my parents did keep an eye on me. And when my parents weren't gone, they had a friend come over and watch me. When my parents were gone, they had a friend come over and watch me. That was hard as well. I didn't like that. But yeah, you don't feel like you have a lot of privacy. At least I didn't. Oh, another thing is I used to feel like people were talking about me in public. So like if I was in public, I would think that like if someone was like whispering or talking, I'd be like, oh, they're talking about me. And they weren't. It was just me being paranoid again, and that was hard. Or feeling like eyes are always watching you in public, like people are always looking at you, like they know something's wrong or something's up. And that also is just the paranoia. Most of the time no one was really like, they may have looked at me, but like they weren't like, you know, staring at me or talking about me like I thought they were. Someone keeps asking other people if they're diagnosed with schizophrenia. I was not diagnosed with schizophrenia. Psychosis is a form of schizophrenia, I think. Do not quote me on that. Actually, I'll look it up. So this says schizophrenia is a mental illness that causes psychosis, but schizophrenia also has other symptoms, and it isn't the only cause of psychosis. In some cases, other mental illnesses cause psychosis, including depression, bipolar disorder, dementia, and borderline personality disorder. So, that makes sense. So schizophrenia, I guess, if you have that can cause psychosis, but in some cases it's not schizophrenia. In other cases it's other mental illnesses that cause it. For me, I want to say it's bipolar disorder. Yeah. Either depression, probably a mixture of depression and bipolar disorder, I would say, was what happened to me. Someone said that they get flashbacks, and that hasn't happened to me before. I actually used to have dreams where I was back in the psychosis. So this is when I was out of it. So I didn't like have flashbacks like when I was awake, I guess, but when I was asleep, I would dream that I went back into it, and I actually had these dreams a lot, and that I would like forget something, or like I wouldn't, I don't know, I like wasn't like one with myself. I don't really remember, but I just remember dreaming and being like, oh my god, I'm back in it, like, which was really scary, and I'd wake up and be like, okay, I'm fine. But yeah, that was definitely something that happened after I recovered, was I would have dreams about it and think that I was back in the psychosis when really I was not. So I guess that's kind of like a flashback, but more of just like my own fear, I guess. So one person said, tell me it's a one-off experience, it's never going to happen again. I can't say that. It could happen again. It really just depends on you. I actually, when it was marked the year, like it had been a year exactly since I'd gotten the psychosis, I freaked out thinking that I was gonna like relapse or whatever and like have it again. And a friend calmed me down and explained to me like, look, you're here, you're doing well, there's nothing to be worried about, and that person was right. I was fine. But yes, it can happen again. That's why you have to either, keep taking your medications, keep seeing a psychologist if needed. After 3 years, I am now stopped seeing a psychologist. I saw the psychologist for like 2.5 years, and then I decided that I didn't need to anymore, even though I probably could go back and see her if needed. Personally, I don't think I do now, but maybe in the future. So yeah, it could happen again. I think you just have to keep treating your body like it's your temple, and being healthy and mentally healthy. One thing that really helps me like stay on top of my mental health is working out. I work out for literally my mental health. It just helps clear my mind. If I'm having a bad week, it just like helps me. So yeah, that's one huge thing. If you can work out. Just like in general for anyone with like mental health issues, it helps a ton more than you would think. Like even just going for a run or being outside is good too. That really helps as well. Okay, so that's all of the comments that were questions on the video. So yeah, I'm sorry it's been a year since I've posted anything about this, but I felt like it was time to answer questions and just come back and like tell you all how I'm doing. So if you have more questions, please comment below and I will try to answer them maybe in another video. And yeah, if you guys have any other, it doesn't have to be psychosis related, it can, anything in general, any questions you have, I'm here to answer and help. Yeah, again, not a professional. These are just from my personal experience and from what I know. So yeah, hope you guys liked it. Yeah, I will hopefully talk to you guys soon.